Hey guys, welcome to Revamp, the podcast, where we are revamping the way adults do life. I'm your host, Felicia Creighton.
And I'm your co-host, Andrea Creighton. Let's get into today's topic.
So I am so excited for this episode.
So excited.
Because this is such a struggle for so many people. And we're going to help free you guys today.
Yes,
we're going to help free you guys from the biggest question at hand. We talk about this amongst all of our friends, why do adults struggle making friends?
This is so big because even the intro, right? It's revamping the way adults do life.
Yeah.
We can't talk about your adult life without talking about friendships.
Yeah. They're so important. But then as we're getting older in life, you realize it's not as easy to make them. And I know for me, because my question is, when did you notice in your adult life this is not as easy as it was in grade school?
Right, because this is my theory. When we were in grade school and even some that went on to college, you were in an environment of, I would call it a forced environment.
Right? I was just about to say it was forced.
You had to be there every day. And so you're around a group of people and you're forced to be around them frequently.
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to form some connections, right? Yeah. We're at the same grade level. We have the same teachers. We're learning the same things. We're in the same phase of maybe hormone development and things of that nature. So we're sharing a lot of common ground.
Yeah.
And I think I realized college is not a real place. It's just not real. So I didn't realize it then because I still had the same experience. It was right after college. And it was just like, wow. Where are my friends? This is the first time everyone that you share common ground with, they may have different careers. They have different priorities now. Some of them started families. So different circumstantial.
Different cities.
Different cities. Some people went out of the country. Some people believe different. So this could be someone that you grew up in a church group with, and then now they believe different.
Yeah.
And they identify with different things. And so it's like, oh, wow, the people that I once knew were separated.
Yeah.
And then now I'm in this adult. And it is the craziest thing, especially if you get into like the careers.
Yeah.
I don't know many 20-year-olds fresh out of college that went into a career surrounded by other 20-year-olds. Yeah. You're immediately thrown into your grandmoms. And it's like, wait, what? So now you have your best friends with someone who's 70 and it's like, what in the world is going on? This is totally different.
If you do like the corporate track. And so I remember the first time I said, oh, this is weird, because I had gone, I loved high school. I always ask you the question if you would do high school or college again.
I don't know.
And you never can answer. But
I don't know.
I always say I would go back and do high school again. Specifically, I would do junior and senior year. Because I had a car. So I wouldn't have done any of the other ones. Yeah. I mean, and I was just so free.
The reasoning behind that is so
living
shallow.
when people say living your best life, living my best life. Because there was another man paying for everything, my father.
Right.
So I was just like, I had my hand out 24/7.
No, you guys were like taking his money.
Yeah. Well, I was skimming off the top.
Okay.
Yeah, just skimming off the top. It wasn't a full on, but just skimming off the top a smidge. The things he didn't need.
Right.
And so we were just living my best life, gas being paid for, no bills, no headaches. So I'd always go back and live that. But making friends was always easy because when I'm out, I am extroverted. So I'm always going to be, again, life of the party. Went to college, and college is so tricky, right? Because I kind of think, well, we're not forced. These people wanted to be, it's not as forced as high school. Like I had to go, and do this. But, college, it's like people from all different backgrounds, ways of life. I don't have a dad or a mom kind of leading, guiding me at this point. I hadn't really tapped into the Holy Spirit leading and guiding me at that point. So I'm just out here willy-nilly. And so I'm thinking these friendships are going to be long lasting. And I'll be honest, some of my college friends that we have lasted. And
facts.
We don't see each other every single day, but
we're still
still in contact. Yeah. So it was a little bit tricky though. So I still had a little bit, the idea of life still hadn't hit yet. The reality of life hadn't hit yet. It wasn't until I accepted my first corporate job at Neiman Marcus. And even still then, they had a executive development program. So they pulled college kids for the first 6 months. And so we were all thrust in there together. So that was almost...
So that wasn't real either.
It still wasn't real, but I remember that was the first time that I genuinely didn't know a soul. At least in LA, I had known some... Anyways.
Everybody came from different backgrounds.
Cities, yeah. And they had already kind of grouped together. I was kind of the last minute. So I was thinking, how is this going to work? And then so we ended up bonding in that 6 to 8 months. I made friends out of that. And then what happened? We ended up, they called it getting placed. So I got placed in an office and I got placed in cosmetics and fragrances. The friends that I had made got placed across, I wasn't with them. They were in men's and things like that. So I never saw them And I was in an office with a 55-year-old woman as my boss. And at the time I was 23. The other girl in the office was like 39.
It's just so
and
many
it was
different
me.
age groups.
So I'm like, we're never going to click. They didn't think any of my jokes were funny. I'm like, they don't like me, you know? So I'm like, how am I supposed to make friends? And I think I called you every day.
Yeah.
Cried every day on that job because I'm like, that was my first dose of reality. Like, I need to make friends.
And it hit me. So I did work in different environments, but like I said, I worked at an HBCU, again, surrounded by older women and older men.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went into working full-time in ministry.
Yeah.
Oof. And so now, well, I mean, it's great.
Well, no,
praise God. Yeah, no problem. But no, I'm saying like, it's like now my work has become, my church has become, I mean, it's just like work, church, home.
Yeah.
Work, church, home. So it's very mundane and it's the same people and it's a generational gap. And it's like, where is the friends?
Yeah.
Like, how do adults make friends? And I think that's when we first started talking, like, wait, you know, we went from making friends to not having any. Like, how does that work?
How does that work? And then what do you do, you know, maintaining friendships that are, you know, and then at that point, it was like I didn't have money to go cross country to go see my friend in New York. Like I wasn't able to just jump on a flight. And I know you weren't working in ministry to go. Well, you were in servanthood, a season of servanthood for sure. Amen. You know, so that's good. But you just didn't have the funds to just be up and out all the time.
So that's why I was looking at this, and it's like here's some of the challenges, and so I know some people may be able to relate to them. So busy schedules. Yeah. So basically, you just don't have time. Yeah. And then I'll say this: lack of energy, because it's like once I have expended much of my energy, I just don't have it. I may have the time, I just may not have the energy. Yeah. Difficulty finding people that share the same interests as you. Yes. So you may run into someone that is your age, and it's like you're talking. It's like there's just not a connect here, right? Moving to a new city and town, you don't know anyone. That's what you were saying. Yeah. You know, when you went to Neiman Marcus, you went to an entire different state and city. Yeah. Fear of rejection and judgment. A lot of people deal with that. What is it called? Social anxiety.
Social anxiety. Yeah. Can't walk into a room and speak.
Right. And it's just because I'm just so fearful that whatever I present, it's going to be rejected. Oh, yeah. So a lot of people struggle with that. And just some of the things, it's like difficulty opening up and just sharing your life with someone and letting them know who you really are. Again, so those are those walls. And these are some of the challenges that people or adults, not just people, but adults end up running into when it comes to making those friends and connections.
So I think the first question I had to sit down and ask myself, and this was years later after I had kind of made a little group of friends and kind of decided to figure out life. But when I was starting like revamp, when I really was like at the end of my stint in Dallas, I'm like, man, we really got to figure this out. Like I want a group of friends to like go to dinner with and not have to, you know, when I want to do it. But I think the first question was, do we need a lot of friends as adults?
We got to talk about that. Because I think that's what throws a lot of people off. They're like, I just feel lonely. And then you end up talking to them. It's like, well, wait a minute. You just named 2 to 3 people. Yeah. How many more friends do you need?
So what's your, I mean, do you believe, so you believe no?
Well, okay, let me explain myself when it comes to that. I do enjoy connecting with different types of people. Yeah. I think that's what makes life beautiful, right? I don't like to be around the same person doing the same thing because I feel like it limits me.
Yeah, for sure.
And it limits my perspective on just life. Yeah. So I really do enjoy different. I just enjoy variety. Yeah. I'm not going to call everybody like friends. Yeah. You know, or if I use the statement friend, I see friends in 3 different compartments. You have like outer court, inner court, and then the holy of holies. These are the people that are just beyond the veil. You're gonna you know me without me even having to say anything. It's like I already know. Andrea's
facial expressions are like
body language. Yeah. I know that because today is Tuesday on this type of day, Andrea is going to be XYZ. Those are people that just really intimately know me. But then there are people that you get a chance to share life with, be nice to, be a blessing to. And then there's people that you just know of and they just know of you. Yeah. So I don't see the word friend as just something like very limited. Yeah. It's broad. And so I enjoy having a lot of variety in that. But when it comes to that holy of holy space, it's very limited.
So before we get into, because there's 2 things I want to go, there's 2 paths I want to take. The first path is determining where to house your friends, like when you start moving off into marriage, children, because this is where it gets difficult. When people start getting married, they start having kids, you're trying to maintain relationships your friendships that you've had for years. That's one area I want to go into. But then also I want to go into how, as an adult, let's say you're 25 years old, you just got a corporate job, how would one go about trying to make friends? So I would start off by saying you need to be likable.
Absolutely.
As a person.
I don't think people are aware that they're not likable.
So self-awareness is where I was
Self-awareness.
heading. Yeah. Self-awareness is where.
Emotional, like the EQ, emotional intelligence.
Here's what I would, but if you're struggling making friends and you're like, I can't pay someone to stay in my presence, it may be time to look inward.
Facts.
What are some qualities that I may be exuding around people that are causing them to not want to be around me?
It's denying that victim role that everybody's out to get you, everybody hates you. No, it just may be a likability issue.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not about forcing yourself on another person. It's just because a lot of people get concerned with, well, you just don't, friendships can be beneficial. So you may not like every single thing. Like we may not like the same foods. I may not even like to eat, and you may be a foodie.
I think we always say, like, if we weren't sisters, we probably wouldn't
be friends.
We probably wouldn't be friends.
Probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
but
great.
I mean, I think you are too. But it's just self-awareness.
Yeah.
And so I think it goes back to really being aware of who you are.
Yeah.
And also the common ground that you share with the other person.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't have to walk on eggshells around you. I shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable.
That's right.
If I feel like that, I'm thinking, that's not for me.
We shouldn't also have to have 49,000 long, hard, drawn-out talks. It's like, are we supposed to be friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we forcing this?
Mm-hmm.
Are you forcing yourself on me, or am I forcing myself on you? We shouldn't have to talk every time.
So it's that organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just organic. Sure. It meshes, and I feel like it should be like that in relationships with people as well, like male and female relationships as well. When you have to force things, and I believe you start forcing things when the priorities are out of whack.
So let me ask you this, because this is really big. Of course, Facebook started because it was connecting friends.
Yeah.
I remember when Facebook came out. MySpace as well.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like what was it called? The top your top 8 friends.
And I would be switching it according to people getting on my nerves.
But remember, so the whole concept of this social media was to connect us.
Yeah.
So do you think social media has like helped or hindered this idea of deeper connection?
So I think it's hindered because a lot of people struggle with social anxiety now. You're connecting so much through your direct messages. And I mean, people are underneath people's pictures that don't know each other from Adam and Eve. I mean, and
I see it.
Hyping them up, live, girl. You don't know her.
Even saying sis. And it's like, have you guys ever met in person?
You've never met. You've
sis,
never even
I love
heard.
That for you.
If she walked past you and said a statement, you wouldn't even know because you don't know outside of, if she posts herself talking, but you don't even know what she sounds like. Some people.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. I would say
that not weird?
I think social media has hindered deep, meaningful connections.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned this earlier in another episode, but I'm getting a glimpse of what you want me to see about you.
Yeah.
You're getting a glimpse of what I want you to see about me, and we're connecting off of that.
Yeah.
That's not intimacy.
Because that's not who you are.
That's not who
social
you are.
media is not, okay, let's just say this. Social media is not who the person is.
It's not real.
I'm sorry. I don't
it's
know
enjoyable,
another way
but it's just not real.
Yeah, that's not who they are.
Right.
And we do it all, we do it, some people do it intentionally. It's like, I'm not going to let you into that part of me. I don't want to share those parts of my family or friends, whatever, but that's not, so if you're
can we say this though?
What?
It's okay for you to feel that way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like, I still can say that you're a friend of mine, and you don't have access to this
part of my life.
Right. I think we have to normalize that, because I think that's where the misconception is. It's like, no, you're a friend, you just have no access here.
That's why
you have to upgrade your package.
We have to get into what type of a friend you are in my life.
Facts.
If there's any long conversation that needs to be had up front, you could do that.
Well, that takes communication.
Yeah.
And that's an honest and authentic communication. Yeah. So I love that. But this is something that we really have seen, that adults have struggled making friends.
Yeah.
And it's kind of taken on this really weird space where it's like everybody hates me.
Yeah.
Or I have a lot of haters. That's where that phenomenon is coming from.
That's why no one
man, they be hating on me, and it's just like, no.
It's just when you come in the room, you don't speak.
Facts.
And somebody says hello, and it's like, hey, what up? What? Okay.
So maybe it's just getting back down to social skills.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Getting back down to, what do they call those? They call them soft skills.
Yeah.
Right? So making eye contact, shaking hands, introducing yourself instead of waiting for someone to locate you.
Yeah.
It's going back down to emotional intelligence, EQ. I have found out that social media has led to a lot of people having low EQ.
Yeah.
And what was that? Okay, here's the definition of that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What's
Emotional
the
intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your emotions in a positive way. It can help you relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. I feel like this is the issues that we experience in adult friendships. And it's like, you're telling me that your EQ may be low. So if someone's looking for a practical way, you can work on that.
That's right. You're struggling, and people just struggle to communicate. Like, just in life, like when you come in, what are we meeting each other for? What was the setting that we're meeting each other in? But I really want to get to the prioritizing the friendships when you get into family. Because
just different life circumstances.
Yeah, different life. Okay. So when you start to, your life starts changing. You have your friend.
Engagement, marriage, children.
Engagement, marriage, children. Where are we placing that friend that could have been my BFF for life? She automatically goes underneath my husband and my child.
Oh, we got to talk about it. We can share the 7 priorities.
You can share those.
So we mentioned in another episode that our parents are pastors, and God gave my parents this revelation years ago, and it was called the 7 priorities of life. And this is the order. It's just not a list. It's like the actual order they should be in. And so number 1 is God.
Yeah.
Number 2 is your mate or your spouse. Number 3 is our children. And then number 4, the call of God for your life. Number 5, your job, your career, your business. Number 6 is others. So that's a pretty broad category, right? And then number 7 is yourself. Why would I put myself last? Well, when God is first, you'll never be without. You'll never be with lack. Yeah. And so I love that revelation that God gave our parents, and we were raised on that, where we really so we just think and believe a little different.
Yeah.
So going off of that, now go back to the point you were making. Like, so now I have this BFF, but I've transitioned into a season where I have a mate now.
I have a husband. Mm-hmm. And so I would think even before the children come into play, she automatically dips down below the husband.
Like your friend.
Your friend. The best friend. Mm-hmm. She's done now with the husband. So it's like now I'm not calling her if I'm in a crisis. I'm calling my husband first. And then if I want to share later on, hey, yeah, this is what we worked through, or this is what we're going through. When I'm in a crisis, my husband comes first. And it's on the friend to recognize the season as well.
That is
so
true.
I'm not the friend without a husband or a spouse. Like, where's my BFF? What? My husband is one.
It's understanding priorities.
That's right.
I remember when our best friend, we share a best friend, her name is Desiree.
Yeah.
She got married.
Yeah.
And I remember the Lord had spoke to my heart and just said, you need to give them space.
Yeah.
And she was like, I miss you all and I want to talk and I want to, but what was he saying? You got to give her space to leave and cleave.
Yeah.
Like, she has become one with her spouse. Like, where she would be calling you, she needs to be in communication with her spouse. And, I didn't understand it then.
It was and it was a weird adjustment because I was talking to her like hours on the phone every night, especially when I lived in Los Angeles, when I lived in like hours on the phone. It was we just doing, life. And then she got married and it just stopped. Mm-hmm. And it was weird. We never talked about that, but we both did it at the same time.
We both did it. And we never talked about that.
We never said like, hey, let's not call her. Let's just let them live their life. We just both stopped doing it.
And then there was a season where as they're living their life, now we come back in.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we love her husband just like our brother.
Yeah. That's
so it's just like, it was such a really organic and just natural mesh, but it was all of us because our best friend knew the same 7 priorities that our parents taught us. And that was, hey, it's God first.
Yeah.
Then it's your mate. Then it's your children. And you got to flow and pour into those things first. And then, hey, if you have God as your first priority and that is your main, everything else will be nourished.
Man.
No, I don't feel like I'm missing out on any type of connection what I have with her. And I know she doesn't as well. Like when we get back together, it's like we have never gotten off track.
That's true.
So I love the fact that you brought up the priorities because many times it can just feel like things are imbalanced and like not fair.
So I guess I always want to leave people with, how do you rectify this? Like, because people want friendship. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I would do is look and see who you have in your life.
Oh, that's so good.
Like, look and see who's in your life that you've just put. I don't like them anymore, or I need a different set of like, what's going on there? Like, we have to look at like, who do we already have that's been there with us in the trenches going through it, but that's not enough. That's not feeding us enough, and we need to look and see what's going on there. Why do I feel that way towards these people that have been there for me? That would be my number one thing, is to look and see who's already there. If you genuinely don't have anybody, the first person you got to turn to is God. Mm-hmm. Say, God, help identify. Because, for me, I'm like, you always need truth tellers around you. And I'm always like, hey, I wouldn't do that. That you look a little silly doing that. Or people, that may be off-putting to people when you walk. I'm very keen on, if you're in my life, I'm telling you that people may not love that.
Yeah, you don't want to be surrounded by yes men.
Yeah. So if you don't have that, though, what they're deeming a community to do that for you, then you got to turn to God. Mm-hmm.
And even as you're turning to God, because I think I made a statement one time, and it was like, you're never alone. Like, He's always with you. They were like, yeah, but, I feel alone.
I feel alone, yeah.
Well, guess what? While you're turning to God, ask Him. Yeah. Lord, I desire friendship. I want to make sure that my friendship with you is solid. And then I want to, He designed us for community. Yeah. God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, community. He designed us that way. So He's not, making you suffer through being by yourself. But I love how you said this. Look around. There are more people with you than you really think.
Make sure, because this is another thing, make sure you don't have an idea of what a friend should look like prior to. That
could be hindering you.
That can be scary, because this is what friendship means to me, and if it doesn't go this way, you're not a friend. That can get us in a bit of a danger zone, because that may not be how you see, but you guys could still be great friends. Mm-hmm. And God could still be pouring into you through her, and she could be, pouring into you through, you guys could really be great friends. But if you come with an idea of something, that's why I don't like when people come with the idea of marriage, an idea of how a child should be, an idea of how a friend should be. Just let all that down.
And one of the biggest things for that too is go to the truth.
Yeah.
We're really big on that. That's the core of this podcast, is always leading you back to the truth. What does the word describe? Like, how does the word describe a friend?
Yeah.
Go with that. Pray on that.
Yeah.
The Lord will answer your prayer concerning friends, and He'll bring friends that add value.
Yeah.
You don't want to surround yourself also with people that are just pulling from you. They're liabilities. There's no assets. You want to be a blessing. You want them to be a blessing to you as well. Everyone should be adding value to each other.
You shouldn't want to walk around as identical twins in friendship.
You know what? I always say this.
We wear the same.
You shouldn't, because this is what I say. Yeah. If two people are the same, one is unnecessary.
That's good.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, in this, we should all be getting value from how unique you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
How unique you are brings a lot to this table. And hopefully, it's vice versa.
Stop going in with expectations for your friend to end up being like you.
Oh, I love that.
Because people are literally going in trying to change people in their life to be more like them, and wondering why friendships and relationships aren't working out. They were never designed to be like you.
Same thing with like marriages, right?
That's what I'm saying.
If they were both the same, that would be a clash.
So stop trying to change your husband to be you. Stop trying to change your wife to be you. Stop trying to change your best friend or your friend to be you. They're never going to be you.
Appreciate the differences
for who they are.
I love that. One of our friends, we were hearing right before we recorded, she was saying, like, I'm an extrovert. Yeah. My husband's an introvert.
Yeah.
It works.
Right?
We both can't be on 10.
Yep. And God's not going to really bring people. He's always, because everything's purposeful. Mm-hmm. We're not just having friends to have friends. Mm-hmm. We're not just living to live. There's purpose in it. If there's purpose in my life, then there's purpose in every person that I meet. I don't believe you meet anybody by accident.
I love what you're saying with that, though, because can we get back to purposeful friendships?
Yeah.
And it's not just like we're the Mean Girls Club, or we have the same amount of whatever, or we're on the same path. Can we get back to purpose?
Yeah.
And anytime we're on the track of purpose, there is going to be uniqueness.
Everything should be leading back, in every relationship in life should be leading back to, all right, what are we doing for God in this? What are we doing for God in this? It's not just for us to go out
glorified in
dirt
this?
Bike riding and matching and just, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How is he
glorified in this?
Yeah.
I love that.
What is the purpose of this friendship?
So I moved to a new city. Mm-hmm. Another person has just started a new marriage. Maybe someone else has just had their first child. Mm-hmm. How do we what are some practical things? Do we show up somewhere? How do we all meet, and how do you do that? What are some practical steps to really creating some new friendships?
Not maintaining friendships.
Yes. I think we talked about the maintaining, but it's just like new friendships. I don't know anyone. what are some practical steps I can take to just...
If you want friendship, you have to make yourself friendly. So in whatever environment you're in. So if it's work, and if it's not, if you feel like you work with a bunch of 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, maybe it may not be the place to start. And hey, would you like to go grab whatever?
So what do you do?
Be. So the next thing would be see what's going on in your city.
Period. I love that.
See what's going on in your cities, what activities, and you're going to have to. Now, there is no negating this next step of putting yourself out there.
You got to take the risk.
There is no, you don't get away from that. So if you live in an apartment complex, you go down to the leasing office. This is like real practical steps. And you see when they're putting events on, no matter how weird it may, you got to go. You got to see. Maybe you can make a friend in the apartment complex. And then that person may have lived here a little bit longer than you. And that's just how you establish. But you have to make yourself friendly. Staying in the house, and you can even go the Instagram route and reach out to people if you want to, girlfriends or people, or not girlfriends, but people who you may see that are in the Dallas area and they may be putting on events and things like that. Like I know in Dallas, that was a huge thing. You could go on Instagram and there were like a run club or, if you're into fitness. For me, I always made my friends through like-minded individuals, which I went and I joined fitness clubs.
Now, on the flip side of that, don't go to the fitness club when you don't like to work out.
Oh yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Because you're already starting with the wrong type of persona.
You.
That's not you.
So you're going to meet a friend that you're not going to like.
You're saying find those common interests. If you're that church girl, you love church.
Go to church.
Find the church that God's calling you to. You're going to make a connection there. Once you're in church, don't just go and run out. You're going to have to stay a little longer.
Go to the singles ministry.
The auxiliary ministries. Maybe start serving there. Find that common ground and you're going to make those connections. And then like you said, you can't avoid it. You're going to have to put yourself out there.
You have to. Like that is, so number one is finding the things that you like to do. But see, this all stems from what? Knowing who you are.
Knowing who you are. Oh, this is all tying together.
Yeah, it all ties. So knowing who you are, so I know who I am. And then now I'm going to I know what I like outside of a man, outside of, whatever.
Family pressures or societal pressures.
I know what I like.
I am.
So I love cuisine. I love fine dining experiences. I love art. I love to go to gallery openings. You have to go and do, before you have a friend, it's going to be you. And so that's why we say get comfortable being you, so I can go to that gallery opening by myself.
And you know what? That actually attracts people to you.
You're more approachable.
People can tell when you're desperate, and it's like
yeah.
And the people that are so comfortable in their own skin and comfortable in their authenticity, it's like, I want to be around you.
And you can't, you're like, okay, I'm chilling, I'm good. But they're like, no, come hang out. Why? People can smell desperation.
Yeah, you give that off. You give that energy.
Whether you believe you're doing it or not.
Correct. So I think those are good practical steps. You can take them, go with them. Here's the thing. If you're like, I don't know what to say, introduce yourself.
Yes.
Introduce yourself. What's your name? Where do you live? Family. These are all safe things to just spark conversation and really see how we can just make a connection with people. Yeah. So I think we can fix the problem and start making those connections that we were created to have.
Yeah. Stop playing the victim.
Yeah.
And get out there and go make some friends.
Absolutely.
It's fun.